Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Vol Report. This is Andrew Giovinazzi, Chief Operating Officer of OptionPit.com, your home for options trading and education. I seem to be somewhat on the mend. Anyway, trading of the week for Mark, buying some UVXY puts. Very interesting about that. We will have a vol class. We'll let you know soon for the end of the month. And we launch our live gold class as well toward the end of this month. I want to show you one thing here. Just vol product decay still pretty massive for VXX. 23 cents a day. That's $1 a week. So one theme we've had here, and I feel like I've been early for sure. Let's go. We'll talk about Twitter in a minute, but is there is almost like two products trading. It normally does, but you have VIX futures are finally starting to settle a little lower. We're running out of time. We have a little rally today. There's no real news out of Europe. I think the debates, there seems to be some sort of market consensus they want Hillary to win. All I'm seeing is just from the vol. That's all. Not being political one way or the other, but that seems to be status quo. Market generally likes status quo. Volatility. Remember, we had a mark up on Friday for vol into what potentially could be the debate weekend, right? Which kind of crushed a lot of the, I think, a potential we had after the non-farm payroll for. I'm not taking into account just the election. The election effect really is hitting the VIX futures the most, I think. They are acting particularly sticky into the cycles. So I think, but after today, it seems like, well, unless we have some drastic change in numbers, polling numbers, whatever, I think this is what we have. We could see lower VIX today. We could see the short-term vol futures start to come in. I think the ordinary October future will eventually come under pressure because the only thing I could really see as a vol catalyst to keep the futures higher is the election. The debate last night, I don't think really settled anything. Anyway, from a vol point of view, it just looks like there's going to be a little less vol and the futures can come in. I think that's what we're waiting for. So really what you look at your October future, right? October ordinary cycle. Look at your Oct12 cycle for this week. Now that, literally, I think that future dropped. If any futures dropped the most, that one has from Friday to today. It's marking 1410. That's a pretty good size drop. It's down 70 cents. So clearly, all election. Okay, all election. That future doesn't really figure into the volatility products. We do have some positions looking at that, and it's not going to surprise me now just to see at this point if the theory holds true. VIX hangs around here, the 13.5 level. And the real simple reason is because it's now starting to grab election volatility, and I think the more the polling goes in one direction. Yep, I think we'll look at those today. At-the-money put spreads in the SPX. You don't see a lot of movement from stocks in general. The only thing that's going to move us really are earnings. So this could be another dead week for underlying volatility, or underlying movement for SPX. Things that are moving. Gold, slight dead cat bounce, nothing big. The biggest mover really is here, oil. Even a stock, look at ExxonMobil the last few days. So for whatever reason, I like Exxon, I like XOP, I like the drillers. For all of the 2 years now of reducing production, those things could start to look a little better. We have some positions in XOP. Exxon, probably was the buy of the century. We looked at it a couple of weeks ago. Will it get down to that low 80s again? I don't know. Not with oil hovering around $50. So we'll look at some potential like diagonal put sales in there, see if they can generate some decent money. But so I think what you're going to have, excuse me, is oil. I think those will be put writing candidates with production coming in. Also at the same time now, you have 2 years of basically reduced production in the U.S. So at some, you'd think the worm turns and things start to go the other way for the price of oil. As far as vol goes, like I'll remind you again, I think there's two stories. There is the story of the short term, like very weekly activity, and then there's going to be the activity around the cereal futures, which right now are OCNOV, and by next week will be NOVDES around the election. So you almost have to trade this like two separate things. The third piece you trade is going to be cash volatility in the index. We'll go through that in our chat room today. But because you have the election thing, it's going to screw up volatility, and you have to kind of trade each component separately. I probably should have saw that last week, but I did not. I just did not realize how big that the election. I thought the elections were kind of, the event. The result was more or less known, but apparently there's still enough uncertainty and in it to make the vol markets a little shaky, and that's what we've got. So that, for all of you, I'll see you in our chat room today. All right, guys, bye-bye.